Welcome to another episode of the Best Friends Discuss podcast. I'm your host with the most, Mike Ray, the legend, the leader of the international podcast. And with me today is my co-host, Brad. Am I a son of a bitch when I do that?
You are a son of a bitch when you do that.
It's really weird. I come up with new stuff every single time just because it's just what I do. I always come up with new things for when I have to do, that kind of thing. But anyway, how are you today, Brad?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself? Strong start.
Oh, it didn't do it. The soundboard didn't do it. Will you switch over so I could do the soundboard?
Oh my god. Yeah, here, hold on. Technical difficulties.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
You Biden'd it. I gotcha.
It's exactly what I said, wasn't it? All right. So,
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
I will admit something. That was not on purpose. Me going, I straight up just forgot what I was saying, and I panicked and then hit 2 for comedic effect. Today, Brad, we are going to do another episode of Whoop Whoop. That's the sound of the police.
You went for it.
I went for it.
You went for it.
So it is going to be a very serious one. It's not going to be like the last episode that we did. This one is going to be very serious and a little bit graphic. And
so an actual case.
An actual case. This is a case study of a certain thing that happened. So I will admit it is not for the faint of heart. It gets very gruesome for what this guy did. So this is the case of Chris Watts. I stumbled upon this guy through a couple of different YouTube videos that I watched. I watched police clips. I watched interviews. I watched the polygraph. I watched people reacting to this and the information. I believe all this happened in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. And there's also a Netflix documentary. Highly recommend the documentary. It is called American Murder Family Next Door. Highly recommend it. It basically kind of gives you a bunch of the stuff. So I watched that and took notes. Here's my notes.
Yeah.
I took a lot of notes.
I want people to realize this is the most work I've seen Mike put into something in my life.
Hey, man.
You know what? That's a lie. All right. This is the second most work I've seen you put into something.
What's the first? I don't even know if I want to ask that. What's the first?
Spacebound.
I almost got teary-eyed with that. Are you proud that I wrote 3 screenplays?
I am.
Thanks, man. Check out my screenplay called Spacebound. Not a working title. I think it should be the official title by now, even though you hate it for sure. And to all the people who have read at least the first Spacebound, because only like 2 people have gotten to the second one, and I think one, if not nobody, has read the third one. So anyway, yeah.
If anybody needs more context on this, go back and rewatch Adventures of Pidgeotto. You'll get some more context on Spacebound.
Yeah. Because we are now homebound.
Should I start this?
Yeah, go ahead and start it. For those of you listening on audio, we started YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what I'm talking about. We started YouTube, so we're going to be playing some of its parts of the documentary. So you're going to see parts of the like interviews, the polygraph, the trial, the body cam footage. So you're gonna see kind of a bit right now. So, I'll set the stage. This is about Chris Watts, who is I have written down husband, father, murderer. And he is married to Shanann Watts, who is...
Is it Shanann, or is it, like, supposed to be Shannon?
No, it's Shanann.
Okay.
Yeah.
I saw the way it was spelled. I just didn't know if it was supposed to be pronounced Shannon.
Shanann.
Okay.
So actually, Chris is the only one that has a normal name and a normal spelling of the name, because there's several characters I'll bring in, but Shanann is one, and they have two daughters, Bella and Celestia, Celesti, Cece. Bella is 4 and Cece is 3, and they're his 2 little girls. And
I can't have you calling this little girl Cece.
What do you want me to call her instead?
I don't care. Call her Celeste. You can't call her Cece.
Why not?
Because I just got done watching The Office, and Cece in The Office is literally like 3 years old.
Well, that's perfect, because Cece in this is
you're
3.
You're gonna kill her, aren't you?
I'm not gonna kill her. Chris Watts did.
Oh, see, no.
Okay,
Can't have
I can change it. I told you this was not for the faint of heart. So basically the stage is Chris Watts works for a oil company. He kind of goes out and services the oil.
Like the rigs?
Well, not necessarily the rigs, but more like it is the like the housing units for the oil, and yeah, some of the rigs, but not necessarily. And Shanann, she works from home. She works for a company, and that company is, to put it in a better term, is basically a pyramid scheme kind of thing, where it's like they what's the like Tupperware people, or the Avon people, you know what I'm talking about?
Okay, yeah.
Where, they're sellers of their products, and they get other people to come in to sell their products, and it turns in, if you actually map it out, it turns into a pyramid scheme.
Like all other companies, gotcha.
Yeah. And so Shanann is actually one of their best like sellers. And so her whole shtick that she has is that she is is like a social media person. She literally posts everything she has on her social media stuff. I want to say she has like 300,000 people on her social media things, which is not bad from somebody from like North Carolina. This all starts with her and her friend Nicole, which is not spelled how you would think it would be spelled. Let me see if I could show you. That's how it's spelled.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real weird. It's Nick
Ole.
So, but it's Nicole. So her and Nicole go to a conference. The company flies them out, and they go on a conference, and for the business and sell stuff and stuff. Let's see, she gets back from a business trip, and her friend dropped her off. Nicole dropped her off, and Shanann had a appointment for Shanann is 14 to 15 weeks pregnant, and so she had a doctor's appointment that she was going to take her 2 kids with her to this appointment while Chris was at work. And Nicole, knowing that she was pregnant and had the kids, offered to drive her. Well, she got no response from Shanann. And so she called, then finally drove her to an appointment or drove to her house to check on her. She saw the shoes that Shanann always wears still at the house. She looked into a side window of the garage, saw that the car was still there, and nothing. No word from anybody about this. So she calls Chris. Chris is very subdued in the matter, not freaking out of any sort, but very subdued. And so Chris is like, it's fine. She's probably over at a friend's house. It's all good. Like, don't worry about it. And so Nicole didn't really like that answer. So she called the cops for a welfare check. And so the cops show up, which there will be body cam footage if you're watching on YouTube. The cop kind of looks around the house to see in the windows, doesn't see anything wrong. No, like, destructiveness, no, like, broken windows, no turning over furniture, anything of that sort. Nicole ends up calling Chris, seeing if they can get access to the garage using the code, and he says that the keypad doesn't work, that there's no battery for it, and that he is 20 minutes away, and he'll be there right away. And so the cop and Nicole just kind of wait. Chris pulls up. He runs up to the cop, shakes his hand, doesn't seem distraught in any sort, opens up the garage, and goes into the house and disappears. And then comes back out, opens up the door, lets the cop in, and they start searching the house. And this is where it kind of gets a little bit weird. Is he's very calm about everything. His demeanor, like there's several YouTube videos of people watching his body language, and they straight up are like, something's wrong with this guy. His body language is not what it should be. And he's constantly on his phone, not making calls, like, calling people that may know Shanann, but instead is like what looks like he's texting or maybe even deleting stuff off his phone, kind of thing. And so he kind of just doesn't have the right demeanor of the situation. He's making comments like his little girl's blankets are gone. They never leave without their blankets. Where are the blankets? He ends up finding Shanann's wedding ring. The cop starts asking questions like how was your guys' relationship? How was your guys' marriage? And he says that they were actually going to go through a separation, that they had a emotional conversation that morning about it and stuff like that. He finds the wedding ring on the nightstand, no note, finds her phone shut off, and all of her friends say that Shanann's phone is basically like her lifeline, her support, because she's constantly on social media posting about her life and selling her products and stuff like that. No broken windows, no struggle. The house was they even bring in like forensic people, and they say this is a disturbing amount of how clean it is. And I think at one point somebody even mentioned that it smells like bleach. But Shanann is a very clean person as is, but it almost seemed too clean. Nicole, her friend, also noticed that Shanann's bag was left on the counter. Shanann, not only being about 15 weeks pregnant, is also a diabetic, and she also got diagnosed with lupus. So she,
needs her medication and stuff.
She needs her medication, and not only, also with 2 kids. Shoes aren't missing, anything like that. So yeah, very odd situation. At one point, they go over to the neighbor's house, and the neighbor has a camera that is constantly on that shows not only his driveway, but part of Chris's driveway. In the video footage, it shows Chris backing his truck up. The truck that he has is a work truck, and so all of his tools, everything he needs, is already in the truck. The neighbor even mentions that he never backs up the truck. He always keeps the tools in the thing. But Chris claimed that he backed the truck up to put tools that he needs into his work truck from the garage. And the neighbor also states that he is not acting right, and that he is usually very subdued and not talkative. And he also used the words antsy, that he's like never antsy. He's very like laid back, subdued, and stuff like that. So he very much, him being very talkative and kind of like moving his hands around is very weird for that. Again, the body language. The next day, after filing the report, he ends up. So the cops pass out missing posters or flyers and stuff. They also brought in a canine unit to smell around the house. And at this time, the canine unit showed up. Chris was in the middle of starting a TV interview. He actually, in one day, did 3 different TV interviews. And again, you can kind of see his body language. He has his hands, or his hands on his arms, in like a protective manner, as the professionals call it. That he's not letting himself fully go. Like, he's in a protective state. But like I said, he did 3 different TV interviews, and his entire demeanor stayed the same. Same monotone voice. Same. He had weird like languages. Like he they asked him about like, oh, how was your marriage? And he would say, like, we had an emotional conversation. And it just was weird words that he would use. He has slipped in the interview saying, stating stuff in past tense instead of like, let's see, what was it? Let me look through my notes.
So in all, he's just acting sketchy.
Yeah. The interviewer asks if they had an argument. Chris says it wasn't an argument, it was an emotional conversation. He often pauses he often has weird pauses, and he also has an uncomfortable laugh. And so there's a point where he says, I just want them back, and then a light chuckle. Like, he goes, I just want them back. I want them safe. I want them back. You know, like, I want them here. They need to be here with me. You know, weird things like that. Let's see. He uses a past tense instead of is. Chris. So. Yeah. Anyway. So it's very much like something's not right. Something's definitely wrong. Why would you do 3 TV interviews and also be very... He kept saying the same things throughout. So yeah. So then, the day after that, he then goes into a interrogation with the detective, and the detective, brings up, hey, have you ever cheated on your wife? Do you think she was cheating? You said that you keep having this emotional conversation, and that like he stated that with this emotional conversation, he cried while having this thing. I will say he has not shed a single tear during the interviews, the interrogations, the polygraph. This man has stayed stone cold the same throughout. Again, something's not right, and it's very disturbing on why. So they talk about his infidelity, her infidelity. He doesn't think that Shanann is cheating on him. He states that he's not cheating on her. That he honestly wasn't worried about her not being there because he thought after the emotional conversation that she went over to a friend's to kind of decompress, took the kids, and stuff like that. He also says that she must know the person who took her because it wasn't a
Struggle.
That she must know the person.
That to me would be a weird thing to say.
Yeah. So another weird thing was okay, real quick before I get into my thing. Why would that be weird?
Because if he was acting all normal in the house, it doesn't sound like it was like somebody took her. Plus, if somebody's going to take you, I would think that they would also, take some other stuff, like your wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk that shit. But, like, it almost seems like when they were at the house and that, it was more of a, like, oh, maybe she just went to a friend's house. Why would you say she must know who took her? Like, that's like a change in story of between she left on her own fruition to now she's been taken.
Yeah, I will.
So to me, it sounds weird to say that. It's almost like a change in your own story.
Yeah. So in all fairness, he did like kind of go back and forth where he's like he would say that she probably just took the kids. It's one of those situations where they were gonna separate, they were gonna get a divorce, whatever, and that she fled with the kids to get the kids away from him. He has like thought about like, well, maybe somebody took her. Maybe she just left. Like, no matter what, she is missing. Okay. How she became missing is what needs to get solved, basically. But one of an interesting thing in one of the YouTube videos I watched was that the detective asked, like, when we find who did this, whoever took her, if she was taken, whoever took her, what should the punishment be? Should it be life in prison, death penalty? And he was very like you're a father of two. If you found out your kids were missing and somebody took them, wouldn't you want the hand of God to bring down righteousness onto that person?
I mean,
right?
pretty much.
Like death penalty, life in prison, stuff like that, right? He said, I'm trying to remember. He said something like yeah, they should get arrested, not death penalty, not necessarily life in prison, but they should go away for a long, long time. Which, again in that same monotone voice, so it just, you would think that he would be a little bit more choked up and emotional, like, yeah, I hope that fucker burns in hell, kind of thing, But he wasn't. He was like, yeah, you know what? They should go away for a long time. It's kind of like a person who kind of agrees with the group, but also wants to have enough of a chance to like push away from the group. Like, yeah, no, I burn in hell. I agree. Also, maybe not though. So yeah, it was a very weird thing. Again, he states that he did not cheat on his wife and stuff like that. So the cop asks, hey, are you okay to do a polygraph test? And he agrees to it. And this is where it kind of gets fun. The polygraph test it's just so good.
Okay, so quick question.
Okay, yes.
Do they ever find out what happened to him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that gets real, shows that he's not a nice person. So they go, let me flip through my pages real quick. So they do the polygraph test on August 15th. And the polygraph person is probably the best person in this case. Her name's Tammy, and I just have her referenced as a polygraph tech. But she sets him up, tells him when to lie, because you need to there's stuff you can't simply lie about. There's stuff that she wants you to lie, so there's a difference. And so she sets it up with a few different tests, like I want you to tell me the sky is blue. I want you to be truthful on what color is the sky. What color is the sky? Blue. Perfect. Okay, now I want you to tell me when I ask next, what color is the sky? I want you to come up with a different color than blue.
Yeah.
And so she does. There's also a moment where she has a clipboard with numbers 1, 2, 4, and 5, and she asks what number is missing. 3. Cool. Can you write it? And he writes the number 3, and then she goes, okay, I want you to tell the truth on what number I had you write. 3. Perfect. Now, I also want you to tell me which numbers you like. If I ask you, did you write the number 2? I want you to say yes, because obviously that's a lie. And so they go through a couple of things. So it's basically like they have him tell the truth, tell a lie, and then she asks a question about Shanann and his daughters. So she talks about the emotional conversation. They go into it about of them separating and selling the house, or if he was going to keep the house. If he knows what happened to the girls, to his wife, questions like that. I will say, so Tammy, the polygraph tech, did an amazing job building up his confidence to kind of stroke his ego a little bit. And this is a quote from her. We are going to find out if you had anything to do with the disappearance today. She then says, if you did, then it would be really stupid for you to come in and take a polygraph today. Chris agrees to that statement. And then she says, it would be really dumb. If you you should not be here right now sitting in this chair. It was just so great, her dropping those lines. It would be really dumb if you showed up right now. Because I'll let you in, they're about 90% sure he did it. They just want a confession. They want to know what happened. So then Tammy goes into saying the coolest part about this right now is there's only one person in this room who knows the truth. There's about to be 2. And I was like, oh, Tammy. Oh, girl. You got this guy. Tammy mentions that he's breathing weirdly, and she, after the test is concluded, she goes and gets a detective, and that's where they interrogate him some more.
It's very dramatic.
I know. So at this point, with Tammy being here with the detective, she tells him that he failed. She actually goes after the test concluded. She was like, Chris, I gotta be honest with you. You're a very bad liar. That's why, I'm like, Tammy's the best. Tammy was so great in this. And so she tells Chris that he wasn't being truthful, that he lied, and that it's time now to tell us what happened, to tell us the truth, to tell us what happened to Shanann, to Celeste, and to Bella. And he keeps claiming that he's not lying. He's not lying about
you got to stick to your story
until he admits that he was having an affair with
fucked up, Chris,
with somebody, and his dad flew in, and so they ended up getting him to talk a little bit more about it, about what happened, if they brought in his dad, if he would tell his dad. And so that's what they did. They left. They brought the dad in, and that's kind of when finally Chris actually started to show some emotion. He started to break down a little bit. And especially with his father being there, and his father, it's weird. His father almost turned into the third investigator, or interrogator, because he started asking questions like, come on, like let it out, like what happened? Tell me what happened. So it almost was like he was on the payroll, like he should have been on the payroll of the matter.
Yeah, but that's not surprising.
It's not. It just.
I mean, it may be your son, but that's also your grandkids.
Which is very true. And so they finally bring in the dad, and that's when Chris kind of opens up a little bit. Chris then kind of half confesses to it. Now to backtrack a little bit, Tammy, during the interview with him and the detective present, she gave him a essential out. Like she, without him saying anything, she came up with a story of like what may have happened to see if he would bite, and he did. So this is what he told his dad, is that after the emotional conversation, he went into the shower to bathe before going to work. That he works at like 5 a.m, and so he bathed, and then he then heard a little bit of ruckus, and he went to his daughters to then see that Shanann strangled them both. Strangled both Celeste and Bella. And in a fit of rage, he then strangled Shanann. So it was not self-defense, but by proxy? Like, she killed the two, so he killed her in retaliation.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then he also said that he then freaked out a little bit, and that that's when he tried to cover up and hide the bodies. So the footage of him backing up the truck, what he did was he took his 2 daughters with their blankets and wrapped them up in plastic sheets.
And put them in the truck to dispose of the bodies.
Yes, same thing with Shanann. And then he drove out to one of the oil rig locations. Not the actual oil rig, sorry. It's the storage of the oil. And it's actually a giant silo it's 20 feet tall, and the hatch opening is 8 inches in diameter. And he basically took his 2 daughters and stuffed his daughters through that 8-inch hole of that oil silo, and then he dug a hole for Shanann and buried Shanann in a shallow grave, and then basically went on his day. So that's his half confession. That's what he's saying. That's what the story is sticking to, is that Shanann killed the daughters and he killed Shanann, and that he disposed of the bodies. And at one point, Tammy, because at this point the father left, and Tammy and the detective came back and was like, that's the story you're going with. You're okay with the public knowing that Shanann did this to her daughters. And he was A-okay with it. He was very much like, yep, sounds good. That's what it is. He ended up telling him the location. They got satellite imagery, and he ended up drawing, hey, here's Shanann's body. There's the oil rig that she's in. So, yeah. So they obviously went to trial, and this was 3 months after the murders. At this point, he stuck with that story up until he was found guilty, and only after he was found guilty he actually told what actually happened. So the trial,
I mean, sounds legit. Try to basically get himself a lighter sentence.
Yeah,
is what he was trying to do.
Yeah, pretty much. Chris Watts pleaded guilty to all 9 counts of murder in first degree for Shanann and his 2 girls, a unlawful termination of pregnancy as it relates to Nico Watts. They were going to have a boy.
How's it 9 counts?
So I actually looked into it. It's 9 counts because of where they're at in location. It's 9 counts because the people or the kids were under the age of 12, basically. So it counts. So what it is it counts as 1 for. Okay, so say Bella, she was 4. It counts for her life. It also counts because she's under 12 for the life that she would have had, because she didn't live out a full life. So they ended up tacking more on. So there's 1 count for Shanann, 2 counts for each of the girls, and then I think there's I know the math doesn't add up because it's 9 counts of murder in the first degree. So Shanann, and then the 2 girls, that's plus 2 right there, and then Nico, and then another one. It's kind of weird. But because of their age, they're allowed to have more
I'm getting
counts.
it. It's just that's a ridiculous standpoint to have in like a law.
Yeah, absolutely. So unlawful termination of pregnancy as it relates to Nico Watts, 3 counts of unlawful tampering with a deceased human body, and 5 counts total of first. Oh, sorry, that's where it is. It's not 9 counts of first degree murder. It's 9.
Okay,
charges.
9 total charges. Okay.
Yeah, I believe
was gonna
so.
say, good
on.
Lord.
5, 6,
That's like
7,
double
8.
jeopardy right there.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Sorry, that's my bad.
Or not double jeopardy, but
because 3 counts of unlawful tampering, unlawful termination, that's 4, and then the 5 counts of the actual murdering. So I have here 5 counts total of first degree. It's because the girls are younger than the age of 12. They do that for the fact of what a heinous crime it is, and also of what the life they could have had. So he got charged for all that. I don't know if he's serving life. I would imagine he is. I don't think I looked into that. But he did get charged, found guilty, all that jazz, or he settled for guilty.
if he settled for guilty, like he plead guilty,
Yeah.
he probably just got life.
Yeah, probably.
Very, very seldom that you would plead guilty to getting a death charge.
Right. This guy is such a piece of shit.
I mean, obviously he killed his kids.
Well, right. Well, hold on, don't beat me to the punch. He did, but but like he'll like write letters to his mom or talk to his mom, and his mom basically sees nothing wrong. Like she can't believe that he did this, but
it's his baby boy, her baby boy.
Exactly. And so like in like letters to her or conversations between the two, he's like I'm very sad that I'm gonna miss my birthday or your birthday or family gatherings and stuff like that. No care whatsoever about his 2 daughters. So the Shanann's family released a statement saying he made the choice to take those lives. I do not want to be in a position of making the choice to take his. That's from the mom that their lawyer talked about.
So dumb. Somebody kills my kids. I want to be the one that gets to pull the trigger on that son of a bitch.
See, that's the right that's the right thing to say about the whole thing. So before I get into the full confession, I want to backtrack to his infidelity with the lady
his mistress.
His mistress. So at one point, Shanann and the kids went to North Carolina to visit family. They are both from North Carolina. I think they moved to Colorado, if I remember right. And Chris started to have an affair in June or July while... I think it was June, and then the family went to North Carolina in July for 6 weeks, and he was going to fly out and meet with her. In that 6 weeks, while they were there, Chris spent basically his entire time with his mistress, and his mistress is a lady named Nicole. Not the same Nicole, but even her fucking name is spelled weird. That's how she spells her name.
Okay. It's like some... Yeah, it's like Russian, like...
Yeah. So, Nicole Kessinger, she started to have an affair with Chris. They worked together at the same company, and they, she knew that he was married, but didn't know that Shanann was pregnant. She found that out through the news, and she knew that he had kids, but she didn't care really. And the only reason she came in was she saw on the news that they were missing, and she wanted to basically come forth and provide any information. And people got really mad at her, and so she had to like change her name and stuff. And she has sued a couple of places for like defamation.
Okay, I don't get that. Why are you getting mad at her? Like, it's not like she killed them.
Yeah, I know.
You know, like he fucked up. I mean, she's a kind of shitty person for still going out with somebody that's married.
Yeah.
Like, okay, shit on her a bit for that, but nothing that happened is actually her fault, really.
Well, so yeah, for the most part. The detective has in one of the interviews has stated that he noticed that Chris has gotten into physical shape, and that's kind of when he started to allude to his infidelity about it, because one of the cop stated one of the reasons a guy gets into shape is because he's sleeping with somebody else, right?
Yeah,
which makes sense.
Make yourself look better.
Make yourself look better. And so not only they already have proof that Chris started deleting messages from between him and Nicole Kessinger. Nicole did the same thing to cover her tracks and stuff like that. But Chris had an app on his phone where he could hide pictures of Nicole in an app that looks like a
yeah, I know what you're
like a calculator kind of thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so the FBI has actually already sweeped both of their phones, obviously at this point, and found basically misusing of certain things like web history stuff and all kinds of shit. But anyway, so
did she have an actual part in it then?
Not in like the killing or the like transportation of the deceased bodies. It was more of the whole separation aspect. By the way, that's if you see on YouTube right now, those are the oil tanks, and it will show the 8-inch in diameter hole right there. But no, because the whole thing was the emotional conversation, as he often alludes to, was basically that they
His impropriety.
Well, because Shanann knew that something was off. Something was off in his demeanor and the text messages back and forth. She assumed an affair. He denied, obviously, this and that. So with that, Chris and Nicole, they both had conversations about him leaving her, selling the house, and that he and Nicole will get a place together, and they basically will be living
Start
together.
life anew.
Yeah, basically, and that's kind of where he had that click of, I'm gonna start a life anew, and I need to get rid of my old life, basically.
Yeah, because otherwise I'll have child support in that, and God forbid. So.
Yeah. Whole legal battle. So yeah. But basically, the only reason I brought up Nicole and the whole affair, other than more evidence that this guy is a piece of garbage, is it's almost like you can't bring up Chris Watts without not bringing up Nicole Kessinger. So, but I was in the middle of my role and going through, so I forgot to go back. But
You were fawning over Tammy. It's all right.
oh, Tammy is so great. Honestly, go and watch the polygraph stuff. It's so interesting. Also, even the interrogation and how the detectives and Tammy both stroked this guy's ego to then get where they are now with him in jail. So this is the full confession. When Shanann got back from her business trip, when she was dropped off, Chris and her had the emotional conversation, and it then turned into that she knew about the affair and accused him of the affair and stuff. And that's when I think there was some punches thrown kind of thing, or no, sorry. Shanann threatened that she was going to take the kids and that he'll never see them again. The usual things that people say, and he didn't like that, and so that's when he hit her and then put his hands around her throat and strangled her to death. He then wrapped her in the sheets of the bed, and in the footage, the body cam footage, you can see that the bed isn't made. So he strangles her, and then that's when he backs the truck up and gets the truck to the garage and moves the body into the trunk. Or not the trunk of the truck, in the cab. He actually put it in the back seat on the floor, the Shanann's body, and then he then grabbed his two kids with their blankets and put them in the car with Shanann's body, and he then proceeded to drive to the location where he ends up dumping the body. He takes Shanann's body out, digs the shallow grave, puts the body in there. Of course, the kids are sleepy, confused, and they're upset. They're asking questions about where their moms are and stuff, or where Shanann is, and he consoles them. Everything's gonna be okay. That kind of stuff. After he digs the grave for Shanann, he then grabs, I don't remember which daughter, he grabs one of the daughters, and then he proceeds to smother one of his kids with the blanket, and then grabs the other kid and does the exact same thing. And then he proceeds to take them over to the oil silos and pushes the bodies through the 8-inch hole. I want to say one of the daughters may have still been conscious during that. I don't remember, but they actually found hairs around the hole that he shoved the bodies through. So yeah, he's just a very terrible person, and
Father of the Year.
Yeah.
I've never understood this, by the way.
Okay.
Especially the whole, like, I'm going to take the kids, you're never going to see them again. That was his out.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously didn't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
He's a piece of shit. He would have just not paid child support anyways. He sounds like he would have just skipped state, evaded shit, and then not paid. Why? Why go through this? I don't understand it.
So I don't understand it either, especially with what this man did. At one point, he obviously tried to go for an insanity thing. He at one point he did say that a demon possessed him and made him do it, which was obviously bullshit. But yeah, it's so terrible that there's people out here that do that kind of stuff, that don't think things through, of exactly what you said, of, okay, if he wanted to start anew and, Shanann was already threatening to take the kids and that he'll never see them again, okay, in the worst case scenario, you pay child support.
Yeah, worst case scenario. What? He has 18 years of child support.
Yep.
It's the worst case scenario.
Yep.
Instead, now it's life in prison.
Yep.
Like, welcome to stupidity there, buddy.
I mean,
it's the dumbest thing you could think
he
of.
absolutely thought he would get away with it.
Everybody thinks they're going to get away with it because they're stupid.
After he disposed of all three bodies, he ended up calling the schools that his kids were enrolled and tried to unenroll them.
And he thought he was going to get away with this?
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to make the dumbest moves I can do, but I'm going to get away with this scot-free.
Don't bring Scott into this. He also called his realtor to sell the house, and he also called Nicole Kessinger about the future that they can now have.
Hey, maybe I just killed my ex-wife. How'd you like to be my new one? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And here's another statement from the lawyers, or from the lawyer for Shanann. He said, "The spotlight that he tried to shine on Shanann falsely, incorrectly, and frankly a flat-out lie has been corrected. The spotlight shines directly where it belongs, on him." And he is now gonna face basically life in prison and kind of just has to live with the guilt that he has if he even shows remorse. Like I said, he straight up has like talked about how he's gonna, like, he's upset that he can't be there for Thanksgiving and stuff like that, or that he can't just talk to his mom whenever and stuff like that. He is straight up.
Poor baby.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, I just started watching some YouTube clips about this guy, and that's like knowing what he did and how he went about it. It's almost like I want people to know this guy's name just to know how much of a piece of shit he is. I like watching the documentary, which I again highly recommend on Netflix. When he started talking about the confession and what he actually did, it damn near broke my heart, because I just re-looked through my notes of what I written down, and it was actually he grabbed Cece first, or sorry, Celeste first, and like I said, grabbed the blanket and smothered her as she's screaming "Daddy, no!" And that just tore me up. It just really sucks that there are people out in this world that do this kind of stuff and show almost no remorse of anything. So, but nonetheless, I thought it was an interesting case of what happened. And here's even more of a shitty thing, because stuff like this really intrigues me of the court processes and the investigation and just getting into the nitty grittiness of certain cases. Here's something super fucking shitty about this whole thing is that there are like Facebook groups and fan groups that think that Chris did nothing wrong and that Shanann is the one actually at fault. There are groups that, because of her entire life is basically on display on her social media, that there's these groups that think that she was a nagging bitch and very controlling of everything, that, you know, she wanted to put on a display of like, hey, we're a happy little family, and so there are groups out there that think that Shanann drove Chris to do this to not only her and her unborn child, but to their 2 daughters. And there's people out there, you can go fuck yourself, really, to think that he did nothing wrong and that Shanann was the cause of all of this. You can what's a good way to put it, Brad, that they should do?
What should they do?
Yeah.
Well, they should probably swallow rusted
Nails?
razor blades.
Oh, okay.
And then be forced to sing their favorite song.
Tequila. So.
And maybe drink some tequila afterwards.
Ooh.
Oh,
Some lemon and salt.
Yeah.
Oh.
Lemon shots.
No, thank you.
There have been people like that forever, though. It's just like the serial killer groupies.
Yeah, exactly. Like a Charles Manson.
Yeah,
groupies
that just take their
Ted
side
Bundy.
constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I mean, it started off a little bit of a joke, but like talking about like The Office, like that was Toby with the Stratton Strangler. Like that was just kind of like it was also showing that type of thing where it's funny because people do. They are like, oh, I'm part of this case, and then they all of a sudden like take their side, and then they just fawn over them.
Yeah,
people do that constantly, where they think that this guy's probably a nice guy, and if he ever got out, they would want to be with him, and then he's just going to turn around and fucking kill you too, you stupid idiot.
Yeah. It just. As you can imagine, Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts aren't going to be together.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
No conjugal visits, nothing.
No, but I would not be surprised if there was some kind of conjugal visits for groupies. But yeah, it's such a weird thing, especially with that kind of thing. Like Chris Watts, he's a fairly handsome gentleman. He like we already stated, like he started working out, he started getting buff and stuff, and honestly, like Shanann was a very gorgeous lady, and it just that there's people out there that go, hey, Chris Watts in those glasses, am I right? Ooh-wee. Like it's disturbing, and anybody who is a fan of Chris Watts can eat some rusted razor blades and sing their favorite song and drink
tequila afterwards.
Tequila with lemonade and salt. So,
yeah.
But overall, Brad, what do you think of this case? What are your thoughts of this scumbag? Don't let me, sway you one way or another. But what are your thoughts on this absolutely grotesque, horrifying, despicable person?
I mean, I don't think you need my thoughts on it. I think you kind of know.
You like him?
Yeah.
Are you a groupie?
I am a groupie.
Are you the leader of these fan pages?
Can I become a groupie just so I can get to meet this guy and then I can strangle him? Up top.
I
don't understand. Okay, so in actual fairness.
Yeah.
I don't understand that need or want to kill just to get out of something. Because it's not like it's a wartime situation. You're not a prisoner of war, nothing else. It's easy to get out of a situation like that. Especially when you're the one that's doing like the impropriety, right? You're the one cheating. Why? Why do you need to kill that person that you're with now just to be with somebody else?
Yeah.
And then to take the extra steps to kill your kids.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. Like, just kill him now.
Oh, Chris Watts?
Yeah, just kill him now. Especially if he's confessed. Just kill him now. It's fine. It's fine.
Again, I highly recommend watching the documentary on Netflix or going in a little bit more into this kind of stuff. Like, I just saw today that while finding some videos, I saw that they have a police or a prison interview with him that is about 4 hours long that I'm going to dive into at some point.
Now, the only bad thing with you saying that, though,
what?
the more people that give this attention, the more A, attention he gets, and then B, the more crazy groupies that will come out. That is the bad part. Because he obviously did it for attention in the first place. And initially, it was attention from his mistress.
Yeah.
And now he's just gaining extra attention. So that is kind of the bad part about calling this stuff out. It's like, these cases need to be known so you can, distance yourself from it. But at the same time, there's always a bad part where you're giving into A, their wishes, and B, fucking idiot groupies out there.
Yeah, I agree. But
so it's a thin line you have to like walk.
Yeah. I think that's why when I watch these YouTube videos and people are giving their opinion, they take the same standpoint as I, which is people who support Chris Watts can go jump into a lava pit and stuff like that. So, but I recommend the Netflix show. It's a quick watch, hour and a half, if not 2 hours, but super quick, and it dives deeper into more of Shanann and like her social media stuff. Shows you clips of that. It also shows text messages from when she's like in North Carolina and evidence of like his infidelity between like at one point he says like, oh, he got a babysitter, went out to go watch a hockey game, and then went and got food. In all fairness, it was just the babysitter and no hockey game, but to go to food with his mistress. So it dives deeper into the mistress, the North Carolina bit, and some more of Shanann, and then basically gets all the results. So anyway, that's about it. It's despicable, and I'm sorry I brought this to everyone's attention, but it's something that I'm very passionate that I want to do on this podcast forum, whatever, however you want to bring it. Is that there is a lighter side to police work, and then there's also the darker stuff. And so I kind of like having a fine mixture of bringing in the darker stuff, like the Chris Watts case, and then the other stuff of idiots who decide who want to just go on a police chase or get pulled over because they're an arson investigator or whatever. So
I think it can be said better. Okay.
They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we.
Well said.
Couldn't say it better myself, but I hope you know. I want you to know that
he wrote me into this.
Nope.
But anyway, thank you for listening. Sorry it was on a downer note, but I hope you still enjoy nonetheless.
Oh my God, Omega. Back
up. So yeah, thank you for letting me ramble on for a little bit, Brad. And I'll find some more gems of despicableness and the fun side of police work, I guess. So thanks for listening.
Hey, no problem.
I've been your host, Mike, with my co-host. Yep.
Yeah.
Bye. I didn't think that went too bad.